And we're live. Welcome to the Team Tank podcast. Special guest today. We have at Snotty Drippin. I just found out your name. Do you want to show you? Do you don't want to say your name out there? I'm calling you James.
Call me James. It's cool.
All right. This is everybody. I'm really excited to have him on. He has some of the best takes, I would say, on Twitter as far as everything in the NBA. So we're going to go ahead and just span the NBA today. We have some breaking news today. It looked like Wesley Matthews went down with looks like an Achilles, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, man. It looked pretty bad. Went down and grabbed that ankle immediately, and in the slow mo, you can see it flex a little bit back there. So.
Yeah. What would you say? I mean, in my opinion, he's the most valuable, I would say, of with everything he brings to the table. He guards 1 through 3 positions and hits 3-pointers. What's the impact on the Blazers?
You just called it, man. When you first said that, I kind of thought, nah, that's not true, because it's a situation like when they said Bosh is the most vital member of the Heat when they had LeBron and Wade there. So those other two guys, LaMarcus and Dame, are huge. But yeah, he's like the linchpin. He holds it all together. He scores in a way that Batum can't. And yes, they did get a Flalo, which might be a huge thing for them. But he's gone for an extended period of time, man. I mean, I didn't think there were much contenders anyway, but they had a chance to make the Western Conference Finals. But without him, I think they're about done. They're still gonna fight hard. They're a well coached team. Defense is well improved, but yeah, especially with Dame struggling the way he is right now. So.
Yeah, it's man, I hate seeing guys go down like that, especially right before it's a contract year. You know that injury is probably going to cost him a bunch of money, It's stupid to, it seems kind of cold and calloused and Darren Ravelish to talk about it like that. But at the end of the day, that's the man's livelihood.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not even thinking about the contract too much right now. It sucks because he seems like he's a pretty good dude. It's funny because he's one of the most underrated shooting guards. When we talk about shooting guards, no one ever brings him up. I mean, he's right there. He's a very good defender. He's hitting those open threes. Yeah, he didn't do as much as some of the other guys because he has Dame and LMA, but he does it. He gets things done, So yeah, that would be a huge blow to Portland's chances right now. So injuries suck.
Yes, I mean, like you said, I never quite thought Portland was a legitimate contender. So I guess that'll go ahead and segue us over to the rest of the Western playoffs. What do you think? I mean, do you think Oklahoma City can sneak back into this thing?
Let's jump into that right now because that's been the hot topic. Me and you, I don't know you from Twitter, just been following each other for a while, but we saw Russell Westbrook just he's in the middle of a historic streak right now. I mean, he's doing things that haven't been seen in the NBA since '89, since MJ and Magic were doing it, and somehow still Matt Moore, HP Basketball is on there, and I'm seeing people tell him how he's a chucker, he'll never win a ring, he's selfish. He's in the same mode as McGrady. It's just amazing to me how fickle the sports world has become. How soon somebody told me the other day that all of these numbers are irrelevant until he does in the playoffs. Like I said, all right, well, you should probably just log off until the playoffs start then. But what are you even on here for talking basketball? Nothing matters until the playoffs start. What are you here for? The big thing with me is that it's entertainment, man. It's the NBA. We watch it for fun. It's a sport. It's a game of basketball. If you can't just enjoy what we see in these guys, these amazing athletes doing amazing things, what are you watching for? Yeah, we like to debate, we like to talk about who's best, but the bottom line is I like to watch people dunk, I like to watch people score a lot of points, I like to watch people win games. That's what we're all here for. So
I think Westbrook is one of those rare players that will actually look back. Like I'll tell my grandchildren, I watched Russell Westbrook play. Man, he's something that we've never seen before. That kind of athleticism, that kind of just fury and fire on the court, just so angry all the time. And when you talk about people calling him a chucker and critiquing him stupidly, I mean, I know you're not a big Kobe fan, but Kobe caught a lot of that stuff too.
I was going to get into that right now. It's like I think it's a lot of parallels to be drawn because, as you know, I'm not a big fan of Kobe. Not so much his game, but I like Kobe's game. I'm gonna tell you honestly, you got an exclusive here. Kobe used to be one of my favorite players, right? The only thing that really soured me on Kobe was when it went down with Shaq, because at the time, this is before social media, so the story was basically he went in and Shaq said, all right, well, I want my money. And Kobe was pretty much saying, well, it's going to be him or me. He was beefing. They lost because he played pretty bad against Detroit. And so the story, as you know, the narrative was he ran Shaq out of town. Now I'm a little older now. I know that there's also the money. They don't want to pay Shaq, which is another thing. This is the Lakers. Why would you not pay Shaquille O'Neal? He brought you 3 championships. So it's like they made Shaq the black sheep. Then the nonsense with the Bynum thing, trade his ass. He soured on me. And then Twitter was the final nail in the coffin when, look, I can say he's the second best shooting guard. I can say he's a top 10 to 15 all-time player. Then I got people saying, no, he's the greatest ever. He taught Pau Gasol how to win. He did this. He became superhuman on Twitter to the point where fans of him overrating him. I said it. He's an overrated superstar. So that all of a sudden turned into I hate Kobe Bryant. That's where it went.
Well, I mean, I can relate in this way. I mean, I've been this is my, I guess, first legitimate year where I've been covering the Lakers from start to finish, and I tweeted out randomly that, you know, will Lin be a Laker next year, or might he be in China? And I've been called a racist ever since. And, you know, eventually all of those Lin stands make me not like the player, right? Like
Exactly what he is, man.
And I only have, I mean, I have, I don't know, 500 something stupid followers. You have 13,000, and every time you tweet something Kobe related, I imagine your mentions just nuclear bomb on you.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I do it on purpose. I'll poke them a little bit. I poke them a little bit because they get on my damn nerves. So I'll poke them a little bit.
Yeah, I do this. I do the exact. I can totally relate. Every time Lynn does something stupid, or anytime I have an opportunity to say something, you know, that pokes at the Lynn stands a little bit, you know I'm going to, because
Exactly.
it got to that point. I was pushed to that point. That's what it became, you know. And, you know, it is interesting that the whole Shaq-Kobe dynamic would sour you on that, because I think there were, I don't know, there's so many different angles that could have gone, you know. The biggest thing for me is the disappointment of what basketball's history missed out on, because Kobe and Shaq were both idiots.
Yes, yeah. I agree. I've also kind of soured on Shaq. Not soured on Shaq. Shaq's one of the greatest all time too. But I said this on Twitter one day. I said, imagine if Shaq had just applied himself a little bit in off season, and he actually cared about conditioning. And all I get back is, well, he's already one of the greatest. You're nitpicking. No, I'm just saying, imagine if he'd actually been more like Kobe, honestly, and cared about his body and took care of himself. And, you know, then they give him the money, and now you got another 3-4 years of Kobe and Shaq. I mean, that's just...
Think about it this way too. Imagine if Shaq held himself to the standard that he holds Dwight Howard.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Because we know that's another whole topic. That whole thing with him and Barkley wanting to be the, you know, big man, have to, you know, big man aside, got a 30 and 15, you know. Barkley, we know it's nonsense. I saw him run down the court with the Celtics, and his hamstring just did the Macarena, and all of a sudden he's out for 3 weeks because he was a big fat. You saw it, you know. So whatever.
No, that's why. That's my number one beef with having players as announcers, is that it's such a reflection on their career. The things that they say, it tends to be a reflection on how they think their career could have gone, right? If like Reggie Miller, for example, holds all these shooting guards to these ridiculous standards because, you know, well, if he just got a little bigger, Reggie, you were what? You were this skinny your whole career, you know? And,
well, my thing, I'm with you on that. My thing is, it's not even so much that; it's more the fact of they're the old heads standing on the corner watching the new bloods, and they're like, they're salty because they're not young anymore, and they're not it anymore, and the game is not focusing on them; it's focused on these guys are talking about, and they kind of all missed out on the big money, you know. Like, yeah, I think Barkley caught a little bit at the end, Reggie caught a little bit at the end, Shaq came and got it all, but like, you know. This is the way the world is now for these basketball players is different than it was for them back then because of social media and technology. So I think it's a little bit of hate, and it's also the big problem I have is that they're on national TV and people take their words as gospel.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden, that's the standard for a big man, and you're like, come on, man. The dude's averaging 20 and 13 for his career, 19 point something. for his career. He's one of the best defensive big men we've ever seen. Yeah, but he could have been more like Shaq. Shut up. Nobody else is like Shaq.
Well, I thought you made a point that I really want to hit on there, and I wouldn't say it was a back and forth. I would say it was a brief conversation I had with Philip Barnett on there. You know, he used to be I'm So Hideous. Now it's regular Barnett. They're on
I'm
Twitter.
aware.
And basically, because I do harp on those guys. I hold those guys to a high standard because a lot of the narratives that these players have to fight are a direct result of the bullcrap that those guys spew out there on TNT. And yeah, I mean, you guys should, like sometimes it should never be a question that people think, hey, do these guys actually watch the NBA? Like that shouldn't even be your job that you're probably getting paid millions of dollars for is to watch the NBA. And if you're going to have an opinion on...
Let me jump in there, because that's not their job. Their job is to entertain.
No,
that's that's what we got to realize. Me and you realize that, right? Because Barkley's a stone cold idiot sometimes. Stone cold idiot. The fact that he's up there basically doing this whole who cares about math, that nerd stuff, when America's almost in an education crisis right now, nerds don't get girls. Come on, man. What are you in high school? The fact that he's doing that and people follow him is the problem. So, but he's there to entertain. He's there to spark conversation, and it works. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. So, like you said, the fact you would think as their job they would watch more basketball. Yes, and it's obvious that they don't.
Right, and I mean, yeah, the entertainment thing, and that's what Philip was saying, and I agree on that. I agree that, and if we're talking about that as their job, they're phenomenal at their job. They are really good. People do tune in. That's by far the best basketball show, most watched basketball show on TV. And if their job is to get those viewers, that's perfectly fine. Which kind of brings me to another thing that I reacted semi-harshly to was the Craig Sager stuff. How right when hey, Craig Sager's coming back today, you have all these people pouring out kind, loving words and thinking about everything that he brings to the table as an announcer and how he's helped forward the game. And my former employer sends out a link and says, hey, here's the top 5 Craig Sager suits that he's ever worn. And it just felt cheap to me, what are your thoughts on that? When you talk about entertainment value, there's that, but there's also that's just cheap clicks, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, that article meant nothing, but I think anything that gets his name out there, because right now he is the forefront of, F cancer right now. That's what everybody says. So they see him, we're happy to have him back. He seems like he's healthy, he's happy. So now I think if they did this while he was sick and out, that would be an issue. But then he's back now, and the fact that, that's his thing. Cheap, loud suits. That's his thing. He said, I did it for attention. I wanted to be seen. And the fact that we can celebrate that now with a smile and say, oh, this is 5 best ever, instead of having to be like, wow, this is sad. Here's a picture of his old suit, man. No. So that's why we're different on that. I think it's cool. I mean, it's cheap for whatever site it is. That's just easy. That's lazy. But I think no matter what, it's cool. I actually went and looked up a couple today, and I posted one today too. Not like on the site, I write for Hoops Critic, not for Hoops Critic, but I just did it because.
And like to teach their own. At the end, and again, like if you're talking about what sites have to do to stay relevant, to stay up there, that's one of the things they have to do. That's kind of where the business has gone recently with all these with everything being derivative of clicks. That you have to write the occasional hot take headline because you still need your name out there, and that's more of a comment on the business than the actual article or writer itself possibly. But yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I like the point you made about if he were still sick, that would be a cheap take. Like rest in peace to why am I blanking? Stuart Scott.
Yeah, while he was dead sick, and they were like, here's his best one-liners while he was battling that. That's cheap,
Right.
But
right.
I get. I mean, you see. You're doing that out of respect, so I would never say you're wrong. Your feelings are, if you were saying like, oh yeah, he's in the hospital, but this does do the suit thing, that's the opposite. That'd be disrespectful. You're being respectful, so there's nothing wrong with your take on that.
Cool. Yeah, I just it's entertainment at the end of the day, and that's why sometimes I straddle the line of, do I want to take this? Do I do when I say stuff like that, I look back and I think, you know what, I might have taken everything a little too seriously. At the end of the day, it's a damn sport. So I guess talking about, like, you brought up in passing Russell Westbrook and everything that he's doing right now and how special he was, and you know what, he missed out that triple double, but holy hell, I'm looking at his line and man, he's so damn good. We're going to talk about really quickly. We're going to talk about season awards. Where does Westbrook rank for you?
All right, so you haven't followed me that long, but you probably picked up on it. And anybody who's watching or viewing this later on, you'll see I'm a huge Westbrook fan. I went back and did an advanced search on my Twitter, and I saw over a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, I was already putting out that he's going to be the best point guard in the league, and I got ripped to shreds, which is fine. But I'm a big fan of his. But let's be real. We're talking MVP. They're holding on to AC barely. He's missed. I don't mind the games missed. But the fact that they're AC and Harden and Curry and LeBron are, rocking at the top of the league, it matters. You say it shouldn't matter, but it matters. So because of bad luck, I still have him behind. You want me to give him right now?
Yeah, go for it. Let's get your top five. Do you have five?
So I'll go backwards. I'm gonna put Russ at 5. Put Russ at 5. I go CP3 at 4, and that's brand new. I had to look at it because earlier this season I was kind of rough on CP3, but I think that's because we take his excellence for granted. That's a big thing, and we'll get back on that if you want to talk about it later. So CP3 is 4. I got LeBron at 3, Curry at 2, and Harden for me is hands down my number 1.
Hands down, huh?
Hands down right now. To me, Harden. Yes, the other guys are playing great, but Harden is just, you kind of watch, and MVP is a lot about just kind of feel. It's not about numbers. It's about feel and just the flow of the season. That guy's been awesome. Of course, they lose a couple games, but I think he's done the most with the least out of LeBron and Curry.
Yeah, you know what? I like your list order. I don't like the MVP award, if that makes sense, because it seems like every year it changes. What we're looking for out of the player, out of the MVP every year changes. It's so arbitrary. It's completely dependent on the expectations going into a season, right? Like, nobody thought that James Harden was capable. Well, people might have thought about it, but nobody really considered that Harden was capable of the type of numbers he's putting up, right? And same goes for Steph. But I mean, if you had to win a single game right now, would you take anybody over LeBron?
Whew. See, I saw that question. This is a point of contention with me right now.
Okay.
Because not you and me, but the fact. So somebody said earlier, and there's a Cleveland blogger I follow. I greatly respect him, but I mean, homerism will kind of rear his head. So he's like anybody with sense or something. Anybody knows you take LeBron right now over the rest of these guys, but that's because it's not a best player in the league award. It's an MVP award. So other people still have a chance to win it. And that's right. Look, LeBron was absolutely dominant for 4 years. Even that last year in Miami, he got tired in. He was absolutely dominant, head and shoulders above everybody else. I think even when KD played the best those first 3 years, he never could quite. LeBron had an extra gear. We all knew that. Mm-hmm. Last year, Durant, he hit the Rockets. He took off. He bolted up another level for the year. I'm not saying he's a better player, but last year he was definitely the MVP, right? I think this year we're seeing LeBron is a 12-year vet, 30 years old, still in great shape, still an excellent ball player. But I don't think it's head and shoulders anymore. I think now he's 6'6", they're 6'4", they're 6'3". He's still above him. Give him that. He's still the best player in the league, but it's not just hands down, oh, well, he's LeBron, so he's the best. Because it's not. If you look at it, it's not. I mean, Harden he's not the dominant player he is, of course. He's not 6'8", 260. But for his team, he's doing everything, and he's hitting the three, which they need in Houston. Somebody said, if you swap those two, Houston gets better, Houston gets worse. So, no, that's not. I wish people sometimes would kind of let go of that, the reality that you knew 3 years ago, or that you think you know, and actually think about things. So that's my thing. Yes, LeBron right now is great. To win one series or one game? Is that what you're asking me?
We'll go. I mean, basketball is played in series, so we'll go in a series.
One series, all things being equal, healthy KD, man. After his year last year, that's what I'm saying. He was gassed by the playoffs came around, so people remember him getting shackled by freaking Tony Allen. But healthy KD right now is on some other stuff. So I'd have to think long and hard about it. I wouldn't just automatically go LeBron.
Well, I
It's
mean,
KD.
there's something to be said though about will we see a healthy KD again? Those foot issues are scary, especially for a 7-footer hoping to move like a point guard.
Oh man, don't tell me that. Yeah, it's true. I know. But I mean, LeBron already sat for 2 weeks. He's already back issues, back spasms. So he's getting to that. Not getting to that point before everybody freaks out. I'm not saying he's declining, but he's already at the tail end of that plateau. I think where he was the most dominant physical specimen on earth. So.
Well, and that also, I mean, it could potentially just speak to the depth of the league right now. I mean, we were talking briefly before we came on here. I tweeted out the other day or something like that I will fight anybody that disagrees that 2000 to 2009, that decade right there, and those are arbitrary dates, but that decade right there was the best basketball has ever been. You look at that era, and the best or some of the best ever to played at their position during that time, right? You had Shaq at center, Timmy at power forward, young LeBron at small forward. You had prime Kobe, which obviously Jordan, we talk about that. Jordan's better, but Kobe is closer than anybody ever. And then Jason Kidd, prime Jason Kidd. People forget about how great that was. But
Okay.
to get back to get that back to the point to where we are right now, LeBron, he's going to go down as, what would you say, top 5 players ever?
I've got a feeling he'll be going down as top 3. He's almost there right now. I know he has more things to accomplish and accolades, but just see, this is what the problem arises. I say top 3. I'd probably just pure on court what he does. People start throwing in, accolades. He only got 2 rings. He's lost this many times in the finals, and it's true. His legacy will never be as big as Wilt's, not Wilt's, Russell's or MJ's, Magic and Bird. They got hardware. He got the MVPs, but they got all the rings. That's fine. The narrative will never fit them. They did all these heroic things. Their lore is always growing, and it's true. They earned it. And LeBron will never be that way because he lost in the finals and, likes to pass, whatever. But on the court, yes, I think he'll be right there. He'll be top 3 or 4.
So I guess the point I was trying to make is that if he's going to go down, is top, you're saying 3, I'll say 5, I'll say whatever. And he's not, like you said, we're not ready to say that he's quite declining, but if he's the one of the greatest players ever, and now you're talking about he might not be the MVP, and rightfully so, that says something about the league right now, Like when Jordan lost his MVP to Karl Malone, we all look back on that as a farce, right? But if LeBron not winning it last year, then potentially if he doesn't win it again this year, nobody's really going to look at it as like, that's a terrible look. And that to me says, wow, this is a special league.
You're absolutely right. But a big part of my thing, and I think this is somehow he's getting such the benefit of the doubt. He played like a spoiled teenager for like the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah.
He was out on court giving literally probably 30% effort on defense. We saw this for almost from the season started until December, right? He was doing this. So when people all of a sudden, oh, he's MVP, I'm like, you can't just ignore the first third of the season. You can't do that. He was pouting. He was being a baby. They took his 2 weeks off. People do the HGH jokes, all that good stuff, whatever. He needed to get his body right. And, it's amazing to me that people just ignore that. So,
yeah, I completely agree. And if I were to look at your top 5, I might move CP3 even ahead of LeBron, if I'm being completely honest.
I wouldn't be mad at you. I wouldn't be mad at you at all.
Because the thing that I'm watching with CP3, and honestly, it's a knock on Steph. So I would even say I would probably put Harden, and it's almost like a tie between Chris Paul and Steph Curry in the fact that Chris Paul every single night is guarding the other team's point guard, right? Whereas
Right.
Golden State, spot up against some of the point guards, big possessions, and occasionally on switches, it's not like he freaks out and runs out to a corner if he's guarding a point guard. I'm talking about Steph right now. But from
Right.
the tip to the very end of the game, Chris Paul is guarding these guys, and his stats, especially with Blake Griffin out, like I thought for sure when Blake Griffin got hurt that the Clippers were done. I thought for sure, and they've been kept afloat. They're 7-3 without him, and that's because Chris Paul has been freaking phenomenal.
That's actually what got him into my race. I honestly, the whole first part of the season, I saw what he was doing, and I'm like, that's Chris Paul. Look at these other guys impacting the game more. But then Blake went out, and I mean, you can't argue with it. Every time they win, I say, how'd they win that game? How'd they win that game? And now I got to look at it, and I got to – it's weird. It's not even biased. I like Chris Paul. I like what he brings. But I think he's been so good for so long, and he's such a good all-around player. It's not like he's a great shooter like Steph. He's not a physically dominating guy that makes you, catch your breath like Russ. He's not the razzle-dazzle handle like Kyrie. He's not the 6'8" imposing figure like LeBron. So we just see a lot. He's out there dribbling around doing things, and then he ends up with 23 and 12. And he does it every freaking night, and he hits big shots. So yeah, I think we take him for granted, and he's there. And I think I wouldn't. You know what? I'm gonna leave it. Got LeBron 3. I'll leave LeBron 3. Doesn't matter.
It's all close. I mean, all these guys, you could literally pull them out of a hat, and that's why Harden being hands down, I don't know if I could go that far. I think he deserves MVP right now, but it's tough for me, man. Those 5 players, I mean, holy cow, that right there, it's just crazy how deep this league is right now.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we talked about. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, yeah. My thing with MVP is that we know, like you said with Rose, a lot of it's narrative based, and so narrative is more like feel, and I just have a feel from all the players we're just talking about. I just feel that Harden deserves it. That's me. To me, it's hands down because that's just my perspective. I got it. Okay, so we're good.
No, and yeah, I mean, to each their own. I'm not angry at all about somebody saying Harden is great because he is. He just flat out is. Now we kind of touched on it briefly. We moved away from it when you mentioned Russell Westbrook, but these postseasons we have an insane race to the bottom 2 seeds in the West. We have a similarly insane, but for different reasons, race to the bottom 8 in the East, and then the West as a whole is just, I mean, an absolute slugfest. 8 Mike Tysons all fighting each other. What are your thoughts on where the postseason might go? Who might be where matchups looking like? What are you looking at with 20 or so games to go in the season?
The big thing right now, man, is that injuries are going to be the decider. If KD comes back healthy, which is, I like listen. You listen to the team. Oh yeah, he's on schedule, real bad. But that's a scary thing, man. Like you said, if he doesn't come back healthy, OKC's in big trouble. Golden State will, run him out the gym probably in maybe 5. They might get one a Russ explosion game. So what I feel that Dallas made a mistake. I don't think Rondo was what they needed. I said it from the get-go. I wrote a little bit about it over Hoops Critic that they had a wide-open, free-flowing offense, and you bring in a ball-dominant, assist-hunting guy who can't shoot. They've been struggling a little bit, so we'll see. Everybody keeps saying Carlisle, which we know he's a top 3-4 coach in the league. He has time to get it together, and if anybody can, it seems like he can. It just seems also like he didn't really want the Rondo, just from the vibe I get is he didn't really ask for Rondo.
Right. Well, not only that, but I would even extend it to he didn't want Rondo. Not only did he not ask for him, but Rondo went contrary to, like you're saying, their ideology, right? So he keep going, but I really don't think Carlisle was happy with that move.
Some of the things he said, I agree with you. He thinly veiled. Well, he's their point guard. He's here. The way he says it, like, I'm making the best of what I can. So I'm dead with you. And it's just, the defense improved a lot, but then the offense fell off a lot. So, what else? Portland, that's injuries again, man. That's if Matthews is out there, and man, injuries suck. I want to see all these teams at full health, man. I want to see them go.
Well, like quick tangent here, but I've been kind of really pushing for the NBA. I know they will never do it, and it's stupid that they would never do it for this reason, but courtside seats are obviously where a lot of the bread is buttered. And we're finding out that these guys are just too big and too athletic for the dimensions Naismith laid out. And I'd like to see somebody do some kind of, if it's 538 or whoever, do some kind of study on what widening the court would mean for the injuries. Man, it's so bad that every single playoff year, it's well, if Wesley isn't hurt or if KD can get better, it sucks.
It does.
When was the last playoffs that going into it everybody was healthy?
Well, probably never. Let's think about it, man. Karl Malone got hurt in when the Lakers were trying to win in 2004, right? He was hurt for most of the playoffs. So never. I mean, and it's part of the game, so I dig it. It's part of the game. I don't think it's so. And I'm going more with my things. I just kind of did a 180 today because I love it. I got League Pass. I watch games every night. I watch 2 or 3 games. I record them. But at the same time, like who said it? Not Noam Schiller. Ethan Sherwood-Strauss today said it. He was like, they said we're going down to the stretch run. We got 20 more games. That's a lot of games, man.
It is.
I mean, the season could end right about now, and I think we'd be pretty happy. We had a full season. So they cut this down. I was dead set against it when they said cut it down to 65 or 70 or 60. But now, I mean, because you know what? Every game, I want to make sure nobody gets hurt. That's all I'm thinking to myself. I hope nobody gets hurt this game.
And when you talk, you mentioned earlier the first third of the season, the first few games, not Kobe, Freudian slip, but LeBron wasn't really pushing himself, and he couldn't have done that in a shorter season, right? He can't afford to not push himself at any stretch of a season when it's shorter.
Right, and then another thing is, I understand vets save themselves because it's an 82-game season, so they're not going to go balls out every game. Vets understand that. I think last year, I'm pretty sure, and I don't know if you agree or not, Kevin Durant did a great job with Russ out, right? And if you look at the numbers, like the last week or two of the season, his free throw percentage plummeted, his three-point percentage plummeted because his legs were shot. He went balls out the whole season, and then, Game 7 he came, and you could see he almost kind of hit a wall.
Yeah.
You make it 60 games, and guess what? He's deep in the playoffs before that fatigue starts hitting him, and the adrenaline's going to take over. So it's a long season, man.
All right, so we kind of hit on the West a little bit. Who's your if you had to bet your house, your livelihood, your life on somebody coming out of the West, who would you say right now?
If I'm betting my livelihood, because I don't know about KD's health, Golden State is showing not chinks, but they've kind of regressed back to the means a little bit. I think they've lost like 7 games so far in 2015. I looked at the numbers. I don't remember. They're still great. I'd probably say Memphis.
Memphis?
I'm going to fall back on the old trope that defense wins in the playoffs. They added a couple scores. Courtney Lee's already there. They got Jeff Green now. Mike Conley stepped up. He's been playing great lately. So I think if I had to bet the house, they're veterans. They're deep. They got skilled all positions. I'd probably go Memphis.
And when you talk about Memphis, talk about the incentive they have to win this year. If they win, Marc Gasol is coming back 100%. If they exit in the first round with Zach Randolph on the decline, with, I'm not sure what else they could do to the roster to really improve it. If I were Marc Gasol, who look, if I were betting on it, 99% chance he's coming back, right?
Yes.
But if you really think about it, which I have, and I might be biased because please, Mark, come to the Lakers. But if you really think about it, and you say, wait, like, what does the immediate future look like for Memphis with Zach Randolph's not getting any younger? Mike Conley might take another step up. That might happen. What kind of moves might they do? They aren't exactly a spending franchise, right? If I were Marc Gasol, I'd say, well, all right, where else might I win? What else might be going on if they lose quickly in the first round? So they have so much incentive to win this season. So you got Memphis. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that's a really good point.
Yeah, so you have Memphis coming out of the West. Now it's kind of, I hate talking about the Eastern Conference because it's garbage at the bottom of it, but who do you have sneaking into the playoffs, and then who do you have coming out of the East?
Oh, man. So I was really pulling for Detroit to get in at the lower end. The East is a pile of vomit, man. The bottom half of the East is just ridiculous. But it is what it is. So I hope they do the reform soon. They start the whole get the best 16 in. It just makes more sense. I want to see the best teams play. That's fine. I want to see Detroit for the simple fact that I'm pulling for Reggie Jackson. I'm pulling for Reggie Jackson, even though he played like he trying to be a little professional here. No, he really did. He pouted. I say LeBron pouted. LeBron didn't pout. LeBron was a little frustrated or whatever. Reggie Jackson pouted, and he made an ass of himself in OKC before he got traded. But I like his talent, so I pulled for Detroit. Man, I think Indiana gets in.
Indiana? Oh,
yeah, the bottom. I think so. 8. I don't know, man. I can't call Miami. I thought Miami might drop out. Brooklyn. Brooklyn is dropping out. Yeah, Brooklyn. I think they're in trouble right now.
Well, I think Milwaukee might be in trouble. I think they're far enough ahead where we shouldn't be too worried about them. But that whole Eastern Conference, man, you put it well. It's such thick vomit that you could actually pile it up on itself. It's so bad. I watched Miami struggle against the Lakers last night. The Lakers are trying to lose. And Miami, was playing with them tough to the very end. And I really like Detroit. If you don't mind, a quick thing on Jackson. I kind of felt bad for Jackson. I think situations have a big effect on what players do. And if you're looking at Jackson, he knew from the get-go he wasn't going to be back in OKC. Yes. And not only that, they brought in his replacement mid-season, right?
Yeah.
So think of it as a workspace. You have your desk there. I already used this analogy on this podcast, but you have your desk there, and you know that you're leaving in 2 weeks, basically. You've already put your 2 weeks notice in. And not only that, but like while you're working there, they say, all right, hey, I don't know if we're going to bring in Joe Blow, and he's actually going to work side by side. So go ahead and split from the YHB keys over. You're going to have to try to work with that. He's going to take, he's going to take UJN over, and he's going to take that spot. You're going to split seats and all that stuff. You're good with that, right? I wouldn't work very well in that situation.
Here's my rebuttal to that, because you make a very good point. Because yes, Dion came in, they had to split his minutes, and obviously it was a cloud over him. My rebuttal to that is, all right, so you already think, I'm going to go find another job to make more money next year. So then you start slacking at work, you start pouting, you start walking and body language to your boss that you don't care anymore. Chicken to the egg. If he doesn't do that, if he says, all right, I'm going to take this one more year as a backup, and then go get my money next year. And he plays hard, and he shows him, I'm here for the team. I want to win it. We're trying to win a championship. I'm here for that. Then maybe they don't bring in Dion, because they could say, you know what? Maybe this is salvageable, and we don't need another player right now. So it's chicken or egg, because I read the article, I think Royce Young did right after the trade, where they said right after he didn't get his extension, right, or whatever happened, beginning of the season, where he wanted to get moved and they didn't move him, right? Mm-hmm. He held himself out of a game, saying, "Oh yeah, my ankle's still tender." This is when Russ and Katie were out, and then they said right after he said that, he turned, grabbed the ball, and did a sick windmill dunk, and then walked off. So exactly, and he said that's why when Dion first got there, they pulled Katie and Russ. Said, "Hey, you come have your locker beside us." They wanted to get him away from Reggie because they said Reggie's attitude was kind of, and I can see both sides. I do feel bad for him. I should start. That's great. You're still being paid by this team to be a professional. So I don't really feel too sorry for him. I get the situation was messed up, but Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to be professional. I mean, there were days the job I have right now, and even the last few days I had there at Rand Sports, I wasn't particularly happy with the direction of the site. But you still have to hit your deadlines, you still have to hit your quota, and if you work your ass off, somebody else will find you. But um, man, it's just a tough situation. But yeah, I'm pulling for Detroit too. I like Stan Van Gundy. I like the whole we waived Josh Smith and now we're a playoff team thing. That's kind of fun. Who do you have coming? What's that?
I want to see Indiana. Hopefully, I wouldn't be mad if Indiana and Detroit got in and Miami and Brooklyn fell out.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I'd be totally fine with that. I can't wait. They're saying Paul George might be back in the next couple weeks or so.
I
That's
think
incredible.
they targeted March 13th as his return.
That's
They said
that's
he's
so
going to practices right now. Yeah, yeah.
That's that's insane. The way that I mean, that injury, I had nightmares about the injury the day after. And
Huh.
he's already back, man. That's great. That's great to hear. Great for the
It
league.
was surreal 'cause I remember I saw him go down. I saw it happen in real time. I'm watching it like, wow, that's a bad ankle sprain. And then like my mind was telling me that wasn't an ankle, and I'm like, damn, he must have some high top. His ankle was way not. It just I was like, oh, his leg just flopped over, man. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
think you follow Jameson on there, right? On Twitter.
uh, I don't think I do yet. I don't think
Yeah,
I do yet.
I think he was at the game because he lives there in Vegas, and he was there at the game, and he said he saw it live, and he
Ah,
yeah,
yeah.
I imagine that's yeah. I'm not even gonna talk about it anymore. I'm glad Paul George is back.
Yeah.
Who do you have coming out of the East?
Um, I'm not trying to be contrarian, but then again, I kind of am because we see that Cleveland, I think, at this moment is the strongest team in the East. I don't want to bet against what Atlanta's doing though. Spurs disciple, veteran, deep as hell, probably the top to bottom best starting five in the East. I'm gonna go with Atlanta. I'm gonna show a little faith in team basketball because yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go Atlanta. There you go.
All right, I like the Atlanta pick. I'm actually gonna go. I mean, I'm not being contrarian to be contrarian, but I actually feel this way. I like Chicago. I really do. I picked them at the beginning of the season, and I hate when they say like I picked them at the beginning. I have to ride with them all season. But when Rose came back, I thought they kind of force fed him, and it made the team less efficient. And I love
Yes.
that front line with Joakim and Powell. Powell is playing out of his mind, and it makes me really happy to see him, back and happy in Chicago. I thought the Lakers treated him like dirt by the time he left. So yeah, it's going to be tough. I think it'll come down to those three teams. I just feeling my gut here. And I'll probably look back on this and they'll probably find this and say, well, Fred's an idiot or this guy's dumb. So yeah. So all right. So you have Memphis and you have Atlanta in the playoffs, which one
That
I
sounds
hope you
absolutely
watch.
horrible. That sounds absolutely horrible. It sounds terrible.
Well, you know what?
That
I hope people watch because I think it'd be a great series. You have such differing types of basketball being played there.
you know what? For the basketball lovers, yes. The purists, not like the people the diehard fans, wouldn't be mad at all. But it'd be a ratings nightmare because nobody would tune in. The casual fans would not tune in to see Al Horford and Marcus Gasol. So I'd watch it. I'd watch them grind it out against each other. But so yeah, my dream matchup would be OKC
Cleveland.
and Cavs coming out. Yeah, so we could see LeBron and KD and Russ and Kyrie. That'd be a Serge and Kevin Love. But yeah, realistically, I think it's probably realistically, even though that's what I bet my money on, right? I bet money
Yep.
on Memphis. Realistically, I think it's probably gonna be Golden State and the Cavs.
Yeah. I I wouldn't be mad either way. That'd be fun. I mean, that,
I
that
think,
game they played, that game they played was incredible. Just was it last week? That was fun.
yeah, Golden State and Atlanta. I think Atlanta's coming out.
The worst part about that game was that during the whole game we got those stupid "what color is a dress" jokes. Um, that's what I'll remember of the game, and it sucks that that's what I'll remember.
It
So we
was white and
have.
gold.
I'm right there with you. It was white and gold. I'm not hearing anything to the contrary. So we'll go from the last thing here. We'll wrap up on this. You're a Celtics fan. I'm a Laker fan. This is the dog days of the rivalry. Went from the top of the league, guys that are going to be in the finals, to teams that probably won't sniff the finals for the next, I don't know, it feels like forever. What do you think about the way the Celtics are rebuilding? And talk about, the two different type of rebuilds it looks like, and who do you think might, come out on top quicker?
I really respect that Ainge made that decision. He did it about a year too late. I'm all in on it. I'm one of the. I find myself not arguing, but I see, oh man, we should go get this player and we should make a playoff push. And I go, that's stupid. No, that's not what a rebuild's about. We're literally less than 2 years into it. I'm kind of pissed we're doing this well this year because people say I'm a bad fan, but I don't want to get in as an A seed and then scuffle along as a 7th A seed for the next 3-4 years because we're never good enough to get a good draft pick. I don't want that. If you're gonna rebuild, tear it all down, suck for 2 years, get your picks, save your money up, and make moves. So this, I talked to a couple of guys I really respect online, and they're like, oh yeah, well why not? Why not? Take a shot at it. I don't want to get smoked in 4 games in the first round. I don't care about the money. I don't care about the exposure for Jared Sullinger and Kelly Olynyk, who are fine young players, but guess what? They're not franchise level big men. They're not. They get crushed by in the years to come. Marcus Smart is going to be a great player, I think, but he by himself he can't do it. So I'm a big proponent of the. It sounds I'm not an analytics guy, but I do believe in the process. And I think if you have a smart GM who comes up with a good blueprint, and him and the owner are in lockstep, and they get a good coach, which we did, I think you follow that blueprint. And they have a blueprint, and it wasn't meant to be a 1-year fix, or 2-year fix, or 3-year fix. I'm perfectly okay with that. Philly, I am fascinated by what Philadelphia is doing. I don't think I want to let Hinkie run it, and I want to just sit and watch. I don't think he's taking too long. I don't think he's trading too many players. Because guess what? Again, they're less than a year and a half into it. Let him run. Oh, he's trading away good pieces. That's perfectly okay because guess what? They haven't even started yet. They're waiting to get that next pick, and then they'll start. The guys seem to be learning. They're playing hard. So Philly's the extreme. I like what we're doing. The Lakers, I don't know if what you guys are used to doing, you can still do, right? Because I know that the Lakers are used to saying, we're the Lakers. We got a lot of money. We have this network over here to give us more money, so we don't care about money. We're going to get players we need. The changing economics and the changing league made it so that players can get big and famous anywhere they go. They made it so they can stay home for more money, so they wouldn't really necessarily want to come to the Lakers. They're doing acting and they're getting endorsements no matter where they are, so that kind of takes some of the luster from the whole we're the Lakers thing. But it's still LA. I understand. It has a certain cachet. Plus, with all this new money coming in, other teams are going to be right there competing. So I don't know if the Laker way would work this time, and we'll see. If it does, you guys look like geniuses. You got Randall. You might have another great pick this year. I just don't know if once Kobe retires, we're going to go plug another star. I don't know. So I think Boston might actually have more success in the next, let's say, 3 or 4 years than the Lakers.
Well, one, if you're talking about, like you're talking about what's the point in really trying to make it to the playoffs right now? Look, you know the title of this podcast, right? This is the Team Tank podcast. Like, I'm all on board with losing as many games as possible to get that pick as high as possible. So on that front, we totally agree. And actually, I'm also in agreement when you talk about will the Laker way work. Look, there is no phrase I hate more in Laker media right now than so and so knows what it takes to be a Laker, or this is not the Laker way. Get out of here with that stuff. Get out of here with that stuff because look, it's an appeal to tradition fallacy, right? Like I just wrote an article the other day, shameless plug, but I wrote an article the other day, and that was my lead. The Lakers are a walking, talking, bumbling, and stumbling appeal to tradition fallacy, where they just think because they've done it this way before, it's going to work this way again. And it just, I don't, it won't. I don't think. I don't. You'd hope so, but it's not. The big thing you mentioned, the coaching and the dynamic between owner, GM, coach all being on the same page. That's the major reason why I think the Celtics rebuild might be more fruitful than the Lakers. You look at the ownership there and their relationship with Danny Ainge and the patience that they've had there. Plus, they bring in Brad Stevens, who, one, looks like a great young coach, and two, is completely on board with the moves that Danny Ainge makes. And Ainge, their stream of communication is well founded and well documented. I'm not seeing that from the Lakers, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you have games where Jeremy Lin is finishing close games because they're trying to win, and then they turn around and say, well, you know what, we may need to lose as many games as possible. Your actions don't speak evenly with your words. It just doesn't. It's not quite adding up. So as much as it pains me to say this, oh man, I have to.
Let's hear it.
Get
it out, man.
The Celtics might make the playoffs before the Lakers. I'm gonna pay for that one. It's gonna. Oh man.
Hey, real quick, Portland without Matthews just beat Dallas by like 20. So yeah, they just beat the brakes of Dallas.
Because I'm my game feed here. I mean, I might be behind. Let's see.
Oh no, shit!
Holy cow!
It's the end of the third quarter. But yeah, they're going to beat them. I think that's what it looks like.
No, actually,
I thought the third quarter winding down. So yeah.
No, it says final.
Did I pause it? I think I paused my TV or something. Yeah.
No, my game feed just caught up. 94-75.
I'm watching I'm watching the after show. Yeah. So yeah, they already beat them. I watched it. They won by like 20 something.
That's crazy.
Yeah. 19.
How did the Mavericks only score 75 points? That's what you're talking about with that offense.
Hey man, hey, they got a championship point guard, baby. 5 for 13, 9 assists. Hey, they need it.
You're so happy. You were so stoked on that trade.
I'm happy. It's just that I know I'm not very smart sometimes, right? But I watch a lot of basketball. I have certain things where I think I know what I'm talking about. And so when I first heard Rondo going there, it just didn't make any sense, and it still doesn't make sense, and it's showing. So for once, I got something right. How about that?
Yeah, what's funny is that a lot of the smarter people were out there saying, will this work? I had questions about it, but the thing that worried me was Dallas functioned on a patience-based ball movement type of offense, and Rondo is not that kind of point guard. He needs the ball to be
exact opposite of that kind of point guard.
Yeah,
that's what kills me. I didn't understand when people, even smart people that I really trust and I follow for a while, but they're like, oh yeah, this can work, and I just didn't see it. Same thing when, hey, he should go to Houston. And I'm like, no, he shouldn't go to Houston. He doesn't fit in Houston either. That's a good question. Real quick.
Breaking news. Woj just tweeted out, Wesley Matthews suffered a torn left Achilles tendon and will miss the rest of the season.
Oh, damn.
Man.
That sucks.
Because that pretty much puts him out. That puts him out for most of next year too, if you think about it.
Okay. You know what? I don't believe in curses and stuff. But Portland just has some rough luck, man.
Yeah.
Portland has rough luck.
Since Sam Bowie. I mean, it's like the basketball version of the Babe Ruth curse, right? Where they might have to wait 100 years since they passed up on Jordan to win the title. Man, that sucks. Wesley Matthews is one of my favorite players too, man. So thoughts and prayers to him and his family right now. It's got to be scary for him. That sucks.
I'll say this, and let's put it in perspective. Hey, let's pray for his. Let's hope he has a rapid recovery and he gets back 100% next year. But it's an Achilles. It happens. He's how old is he?
He's almost 30, I think, at this point.
Well, he's not old, man. He's still at the age, and his game isn't predicated on intense athleticism. He's hustles, but he's not some sky high flyer. So I think he'll let's hope he comes back fine next end of next year. Let's hope. And Portland's a class franchise. They're the kind of they give him they re-sign him next year for 1 year at a fair price and give him a chance to work back. They seem like that kind of franchise.
He is just 9 days older than me. He is 28, birthday October. So
yeah, he's relatively young, and again, I think he'll be fine.
He's tough as nails too. So I mean, for him to be considered one of their more valuable players, considering where he came from, he's going to fight tooth and nail to get back to where we all think he can be. So again, man, thoughts and prayers to him and his family. Man, that sucks. Damn you, 82-game season.
How much time we got left?
We got we'll wrap up on one last thing.
Well, we had a couple questions. We had a couple questions from Twitter. I don't know if we had time to get them.
We'll go ahead. You go ahead and you pick which question you want to roll with. You were added in the same questions that I was. So.
Oh, I got one brand new one. I got one.
All right,
from at Real Bob Manning. Why do you think the Celtics were getting involved with McGee?
With McGee?
Yeah, they were trying to sign McGee, right, when he got released.
Yeah.
First I hated it because I don't want him anywhere near my team. I know he's very talented. He got all the physical tools, but he's an airhead. But I mean, we're not honestly. Now thought about it. I want to take the losses, get a free look at him for 20 games. Hey, and then it costs you literally nothing. And if he's that big of a problem after you sign him, cut him. So I wasn't mad. That's why at Real Bob Manning. And the other one was we got both of them. This is at Numbers ODU. Can Portland win the title of the season? I got to be straight up with this injury here. I'm going to say no. What do you think?
Numbers ODU. I'm not seeing that one.
I'm sorry. You didn't get that one. I got that one right here. Yeah. So at Numbers ODU, he just asked, can Portland win the title of the season? He's a big fan of Terry Stotts.
No, not without Wesley Matthews. Unless Aaron Aflalo just becomes Orlando Aaron Aflalo and plays out of his damn mind, maybe. But no, I mean Wesley Matthews guarded point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards depending on what they needed. I don't see that happening. He was so valuable to their team, which sucks. I was really pulling for Portland this year. My mentor, like the guy that helped me break into this game, John Christensen, did their PR through the 90s, and yeah, I was really hoping they would put things together. So now to answer his question,
we had another question where they said, "Have I ever been to Temecula?" Yes, I have. It's a lovely city. I don't live there though, so I don't know why somebody would want to try to meet me there. So that's my answer for that one. Yes, Temecula's nice. A lot of nice wine country.
I replied to this already, but I'm going to repeat it. My brother and sister-in-law live there. I don't particularly like the city. It's kind of a dust bowl. It's nothing really there. So, yeah. No, that story is whatever's after ancient. We'll say that. We'll go there. Yeah. So. We'll go ahead. You know what, James, I really appreciate you coming on. You are more than welcome at any time whatsoever. You let me know a day that works out. We'll have you on at the drop of a hat. I appreciate you coming on again, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to say it just because I wish it would happen. Russell Westbrook for MVP.
I'm right there. You know what? I hate narratives driving everything. So if Russell Westbrook can flip that on its head and have finish the season averaging 50 points, go for it, man. Do your thing.
Exactly, man. I love it. You know what's funny? I'm a hypocrite. I love it from him, but I hated it from AI and Kobe. Deal with it.
To hell with consistency. That's who needs
shots up, baby. Russ, put them up. You got nothing else to do right now. Be a competitor. Put them damn shots up. Guess what? You don't know any better, Russ. Just fucking go for it.
Hey, I'm gonna be saying the same thing when Russell Westbrook is a Laker. You're gonna have to deal with that when he's killing your Celtics in a couple of years.
You know what? If he went back home to be the Lakers, I wouldn't even be mad. He's given OKC 7-8 years. Tip your cap to him. Same thing with KD. If KD leaves, All you can do is tip your cap. They gave the home team 8 years. They didn't get it done. It happens. It's a business.
All right, so those of you who are good at video editing, go ahead and catch those 6 seconds of at Snotty Drippin saying, you know what, I'm cool with Russell being a Laker. I'm all right with that.
I'll repeat it for you guys one more time. Hey, Russ, if you want to be a Laker, tip my cap. You can do it, buddy.
All right. Well, thanks again, James, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Hey, man, thanks a lot, guys. Check me out over at hoopscritic.com. Looking forward to seeing you, talk to you again on here, man. We'll do some work together. I appreciate it.
Are you working on anything right now? Do you have any articles coming out soon that we should really look for?
I'm doing a 2015 power ranking, and everybody on Twitter told me power rankings suck. So probably going to just close out the year on, do a top 5 at every position. Maybe we do some playoff previews. That's about it.
You know what I like doing are those email back and forth. So maybe we could try doing something like that.
I'm down, brother. Let's do it, man. I'm open. Let's do it.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks, everybody. Have a good night.